Hello, Ragnar Heil. I would like to show you how I'm using the Natural Language Actions NLA from Zapier, especially in the Microsoft context. I'm a Microsoft MVP in year number 6, and I'm using the whole Microsoft 365 ecosystem a lot. And my interest is to find out how the automation work using the Zapier basics and also the premium connectors, and then also seeing how the NLA adds value to the whole workflow. In the last 3-4 weeks, since I have access to the NLA, I'm working here with the team's channel messages. I'm also trying to work with Outlook, creating contacts, Microsoft To Do, creating new tasks. A lot of ChatGPT, of course, is done. And in OneDrive, I'm creating new files. I'm also playing around with the API of Microsoft Teams, the Graph API 0.0, which is currently in beta. And in this video, I'm going to show you my use cases around webhooks. I was very interested to learn more about webhooks. I'm working for a company called Rancor, and they also have webhooks in integration. And that's something which is very interesting for my business, because here with these integrations, I would like to show how I can, for example, trigger a user, and then the webhook helps me to connect to Teams, gets more information about the user, and then at the end, it's going to be shared inside of Teams as a new message or as a new channel update or whatever. But this would be very important for my professional life to use our Rancor governance suite. And here the automations can be done on the following way. Let me show you in a few seconds. The Rancor automations can be done using different kind of objects. So here in this case, I'm triggering manually a user object, but I can also trigger manually or triggering by scheduling, let's say, a OneDrive file. So that's relevant, or SharePoint file. OneDrive files would be here. And then this is very, very powerful, because I can say I can trigger manually, automatically, or scheduled a OneDrive file, sending it then to Zapier, and then every other actions can be done. Writing into OneDrive, documents, Google Sheets, giving it to ChatGPT or whatever. So very powerful and very relevant for my work as a MVP and global partner manager working at Rancor. But this video is more about the webhooks. That's something what I wanted to learn more, because just to come back, this webhook here, when we're triggering a Microsoft Teams user, this webhook is used this way. So it's triggering a user. It can also trigger a OneDrive file, a SharePoint file. And then the Zapier webhook is used here with the post method. But before using this, I was going back into a more easy approach and start from the very beginning and use the webhook with the most simple way I can explain it to you. So let's start very, very easy. Step number 1, I'm going into the Zapier NLA sections. That's the way how I can create a new NLA. I've already done a few, and here you can see I'm going to enable now the NLA for webhooks, creating a post action. I can also do a get, but post is for me here relevant. I'm using also have AI guess a value for this field. That's going to be my number 1 NLA. That's going to be enabled. I only want to work with webhooks, posting it, and then what I'm doing right now is I'm going to create a new Zap, and then I'm saying use webhook with get method and send it to ChatGPT conversation and publish it to a Microsoft Teams team called Ragnar 365 and channel Zapier. Okay, now the magic happens. I'm going to use the AI better here of Zapier, and I'm finding out if this simple prompt can help me to create this step for me. Okay, step number 1, catch the hook. We have different ways of working with webhooks. Currently the catch hook is the symbols. There are also some other ways. Then the conversation of ChatGPT, where it's transforming, and then finally sending the message to Teams. I'm going to try it out now how this works. So let's do some actions here. Here we need to confirm some things like accounts. So let's go step by step. Catching the webhook or catching the hook here in Zapier. That's the right event. I want to catch the hook, which is the most simple way. So no raw, just catching the hook. Super, that works. Here I don't need to enter this value. That's fine. This is now the value which I need here. And what I will do right now to just debug, because other things can be done later, just to debug it, I'm going to use a tool called Postman. And this URL is going to be added into Postman. Just have to remove this part here. So HTTP. And now let's say I want to know the first mayor of Berlin. That is my question here. So very simple. I go into the body, curly brackets, starting message, first mayor of Berlin. That's the message. I'm sending it now directly using the post method. So here I can also do post get, but I'm using post. This is the URL which I got from Zapier. I'm using Postman. I'm sending it now to Postman and the status is success. So now I can test it if Zapier got this information. And this sounds very promising. So the first mayor, so this is something what Zapier has received from my Postman tool. Now I can continue and use ChatGPT. So that's my correct account from OpenAI. I've also have a premium account. I've got a paid license. And now the action would be the following. I'm going to use the user message, which is this one. Then the username is fine, assistant name. Yes, so here I can do some customized introductions, but that's currently fine. I'm also going to leave it with 3.5. Temperature is fine. So that's enough for our tests. And now the last thing is after ChatGPT picked up my message, it's going to write the answer, the response into a Teams channel. So here I'm using Teams. I'm sending it to a Teams channel message. That's my Teams account. And finally, I'm going to pick a team. It's currently loading the list of teams. I'm using this team, Wagner 365. And I've got already prepared a nice channel, which has got the beautiful name Zapier. So here it is. Okay, so here you can see that I'm using the plain message format, and here the message text is the response from the OpenAI ChatGPT, the assistant response message. Now I'm going to continue, and now I can test this. So this message is now sent directly to Microsoft Teams. I'm also going to publish it because this was working. And when I go to Teams, this is the correct answer. So that's a very easy way to learn how to work with webhooks. That's very important because this is very powerful, because this is just the easiest way how you can deliver a webhook. But it can be also complex. You can also give very detailed message cards here, and then it would look a little bit more interesting. This is just the simplest way, but that's a very good start also for me to learn how to work with webhooks in the future, because now I'm understanding the richness of this tool, what I can do with it. So my recommendation is to work with Zapier step by step. There is a learning curve. So start with the easy step and then increase, advance, add new steps, make it more complex. But for debugging, go step by step. So that was for me the most important part. Okay, that was a very important step for me. And now I would like to continue and go from the webhook back to the ranker part. This is what I have gained with my knowledge now around webhooks. That's very needed and necessary for my next step. I will go into the inventory of my Rancor governance system. I will do now a trigger on the webhook, and then I'm going to trigger a user. And this user, this defined user, I'm going to send it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT should tell me more information about this user, and then this information right to Microsoft Teams. What I'm doing here is I'm just reusing the existing Zap what I had. So I don't need to create something new. I just use the existing one here. That's the one which I just showed you in my webhook example, because everything is still the same. The webhook is the same. I'm using ChatGPT. I'm sending the channel message into Teams. So from the Zapier side, no single change. So from the Zapier side, no single change. That's very powerful. But let me repeat it. I'm going to use the catch hook, then sending everything into ChatGPT as a conversation. I'm going to do the following in ChatGPT. I'm using the user message, tell me more about, and then the display name. And this display name is read out here from Rancor. So this name should be used and delivered and sent to ChatGPT. And then the username is also the display name. I'm using then an assistant name called GPT-4 and also the model GPT-4. And then everything is going to be sent into a Teams message, into a Teams channel message. Same what we had in the past. Ragnar's 365 team, Zapier, and then the message text is first to be more about this user, which is triggered in the webhook, and then the response message from ChatGPT. Okay, let's publish it. Now I'm going to take a user. Let's take myself. I'm here, that's my name, and here I can go directly and trigger this automation. The automation is Zapier webhook users. Here I can see that it's currently triggered, and then I just have to go and wait maybe 1 or 2 minutes depending on your Zapier plan. And then here I can see that it's directly telling me more about myself. Hagen is a digital transformation expert, business consultant, and passionate, and so on and so on. So this is information from ChatGPT 4 delivered by Zapier. This is very powerful, and that's a great example of using NLA webhooks together with our Rancor governance solution, and then sending it to ChatGPT and to Microsoft Teams as a channel message.